Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another edition of Hilaal Live. Thanks for joining us on channel 347, also on our live stream www.hilaal.tv. We are days away from our local elections 2024, and leading up to that elections, we thought we'll invite various political parties in studio to give their perspective on how their campaigning has been going and what they stand for. We also invited our panelist, Ighsaan Higgins, attorney. Assalamu alaikum, in studio.
Wa alaikum salam, Luqman, and assalamu alaikum to all the viewers.
Jazakallah so much. And then also from the EFF, Aishah Cassiem. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam to you and to Mr. Higgins and to all the viewers as well.
Jazakallah for taking the time. I know it's days away and there must be so much planning.
7 days left.
And so much that you guys need to do. So we really appreciate you coming into studio as well. Ighsaan, over the last couple of weeks, we've interviewed various politicians and we found out about their campaign strategy, but more importantly, the days leading up to the elections. It's the most crucial as well, those last 10 days.
Yeah, absolutely, Luqman. We've had obviously lots of conversations with politicians and prospective politicians.
Yes.
But I think the more important aspect of this election is the voter. And it is imperative that we need to prepare the voter for what's to happen. You know, it says 7 days, and of course politicians will be doing all they can to convince the voter to vote for them through the manifesto, through the door-to-door campaigns, through the radios, through the debates. But ultimately, we need to make sure the voter knows what to do on election day.
Of course.
We've had a situation in South Africa that obviously we know it's a public holiday, but we do not want people to regard it as a day that of leisure.
Of course.
Of going to the beach, of going to the movies, whatever. It's a day that, that's why I'm glad it's on a Wednesday, so it doesn't form part of a long weekend. But I think more importantly, somebody like Aishah sitting in studio of the EFF to give us maybe an idea as to what should the voter do on voting day. What documents do they need? What ballot papers are they going to encounter? What party agents? What's the role of party agents at the voting station? And can they be influenced on at that particular time when they get to the polling station? Maybe you can take us through that, Aishah.
Okay, great. I think that for those who know how it works on election day, there's lots of drama, especially when it comes to securing votes for the different political parties. But let me start with the vote itself. Like Mr. Higgins just mentioned, some people take this voting on the 29th of May very serious, where others will go to the beach and have a braai or stay at home and drink. Yeah. But I would suggest and I would want to call on the citizens of South Africa to make the most of the 29th of May, to go and vote for change. A lot happens on election day. The voting stations opens at 7 o'clock. You'll have the political parties there as early as 5 o'clock to get the best spot in front of the voting station because, people are attracted to the different tables. If you do not have your table there where there's a good party, the ANC or EFF, people won't know who to vote for. When they just see, for example, an ANC table there, they will think it's only the ANC they need to vote for. Right. So in terms of campaigning for the political parties as well, number one, it's very important to have your political party branding at the voting station, at each and every voting stations in all wards. Okay. And then for the voter, that would be the first line of seeing the political parties. Going into the voting station, you'll have the IEC there. Now you must remember, the political party stops at the gate. You're not allowed to intimidate the voters. That is as far as you can go. The branding outside. So as the voters go in, you'll get the IEC, scanning of the IDs. Obviously, those who can vote is obviously those who are registered to vote. You must be over the age of 18, South African citizen, and then also you must have your ID. If you don't have an ID, because a lot of our people in informal settlements, the shacks, the homes burned down, and then they've got the temporary ID that can work as well on the day of elections. So the process of voting,
I should just reiterate that. So you have so it's a green barcoded ID?
Correct.
Or your smart card?
Correct.
And in the absence of either of those documents, then your temporary ID?
You must have a temporary ID.
Okay, but no other form of identification will work, like a passport
Not that I know of.
Like that.
According to the IEC, those would be the three.
Okay, no, that's fine. Yeah.
And very important that you mentioned as well that the political parties are they can't intimidate voters walking in. That's happened in our past elections as well. So our viewers need to just take note of that.
Yeah, correct.
I think more importantly, I mean, intimidation is one way, and obviously there's a definition for intimidation, but there's also a thing called bribery. I mean, they can bribe you to vote for them,
Yeah.
So, I mean, they can give you a promise of something, when you come out, whatever. So how do you avoid that type of situation?
I think that in terms of bribery, I think it happens a lot, especially in our poor communities. You'll see in Swartland, we had a by-election that took place last week. It was a DA ward previously. So I'm not going to mention the specific political party's name, but this political party went to go. And before I get to that, they target the most poor and the vulnerable people, farm workers, farm workers are so used to getting paid peanuts or alcohol when it comes to labor exchanges. So what happened at the by-election, just as an example to bribery, this specific political party came with their food parcels. They elected a shebeen owner as the ward candidate. And as those poor people were finished voting, they stood in line at the shebeen to collect their alcohol as a reward for voting for the specific political party. So these are some of the bribes that people get, or the way that some of these political parties try to bribe people to vote for them. And with that, a lot of people don't know why they're voting, especially in our poor communities. For them, it's where's the T-shirt, where's the food parcel? After that, they vote and they go. They don't know why they're voting. So I think that voter education is very, very important when it comes to such communities as well.
Speaking about voter education, that's where that needs to happen the most.
Yeah.
In those areas that are
and we
influenced.
don't find it there. We don't have it there.
Look, man, also I haven't heard much of the narrative during this election period where people speak about my vote is my secret. In other elections you hear it a lot.
That,
But somehow, I haven't heard it much during this particular campaign. And is there a reason for that, Aishah?
You are correct, and I notice as a youth myself, I'm 31 years old, so I still fall under the youth category. I notice that a lot of our youth, for some reason, they've become more interested in politics, wanting to understand why are they in this situation, why is mom and dad struggling. If I go and vote for the correct party, what is going to happen? So if you even look at the amount of voters who registered to vote in this in the last month or so when we done the voter registration, it was majority youth who registered to vote. So I think that is also a very good good comment that you made now in terms of people who are becoming more what is the term to use? But they're becoming more aware of what is happening around them and who to vote for and who not to vote for.
A couple of minutes left. I want to get to a very serious issue in terms of the EFF has been very vocal about corrupt politicians and also the crime that we're facing in our communities. What's your response to that?
I think that, and I've said this previously as well, we're not going to get anywhere if we just increase the visibility when it comes to crime, bringing more police. We need to look at the root causes of why there's crime in the area, why there's gender-based violence in our communities, because if we don't fix that, we're not going to get anywhere. Like I said, we can have all the police visibility there, but if we don't start at the point where why are people doing this, and it links to poverty, poor health services, poor education, no opportunities for our people in poor communities. So these are all linked to crime.
So we've identified that, but what is your party going to do different, and a couple of maybe key strategies you're going to put in place?
Like I just mentioned now, we will be starting there, and especially when it comes to the Western Cape, let's look at the Cape Flats as well. We know the increase of drugs and gangsterism in places like Manenberg, Khayelitsha and Langa. So the EFF will be, like I said, not only increasing visibility of law enforcement and police, especially in those drug-infested communities, but we will also be starting at the root causes, focusing on that, because we need to work there, and from there, we work our way up to...
Look, I just want to make a comment. Aishah, you are one of probably the youngest politicians around at the moment. It's quite heartening that a young Muslim female, you're actually the number one on the provincial list of the EFF. Is that correct?
Correct, yes, for the Western Cape.
So how does it feel being such a young person you could call the EFF almost an established political party. Is there any type of pressure on you at the moment? That you feel intimidated by the position that you are holding at the moment in the party, or what's expected of you during this election? I
don't feel intimidated. I'm not only the number one candidate, but I'm also the provincial treasurer. So I think if your heart is there, you know why you're in the organization and the purpose of you being there. I don't think you'll be intimidated. And also the fact that you're mentioning that I'm young. In the EFF, we've always emphasized women and youth. So it's always been a priority to the EFF to ensure that there's a young face or a female in the top structures.
No, the reason why I say this is that it's encouraging for young people to into politics.
Absolutely.
And I mean, you're obviously an inspiration at this point in time for young people that wants to enter politics.
Absolutely. Jazakallah so much. And to Aishah and Ighsaan, it's been a fascinating conversation. All the very best with the next week or so. And we look forward to linking up with you again very soon, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you for the opportunity.
My pleasure. That's the first part of Hilaal Live. When we come back, we chat to Brett Heron from the Good Party. Do look out for that. You are still watching Hilaal Live.